In today's video, we will explore the incredible journey of the chosen ones, from their first breath to the moment they recognize their divine purpose. Let's uncover how each of us is chosen for a special mission and how this reflects in our lives. Are you ready to understand how your story is intertwined with a greater plan and how this can transform your perception of the world? If so, keep watching. And let me ask, have you ever felt like you're following a greater purpose in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Also, please leave a comment telling us where you're watching from so we can connect even more. From the moment you took your first breath, an invisible force was already at work. You, chosen by something far greater than human understanding, were set apart from the very beginning. It doesn't matter how your birth happened or where you entered the world. The fact is, your existence has a divine purpose, mapped out long before you opened your eyes to this reality. While most people believe life begins only at birth, the chosen ones know that the spiritual journey starts much earlier. Your soul was carefully prepared to be here in this moment, living precisely what you're experiencing. Believe me, nothing happened by chance. Every detail, from the place where you were born to the first words you heard, is part of a much greater plan. You were chosen by God, and from your very first breath, you were destined to follow a unique path. This is a truth many spend their entire lives without realizing. But the chosen ones always feel that something is different. There is a restlessness within you, a sense that your life holds a profound meaning. From the moment your lungs filled with air for the first time, you carried a spiritual mark that cannot be ignored. This calling is what makes you question, seek, and feel different, even when those around you cannot understand why. You may not have been aware of it from the beginning, but everything you've faced so far has been preparation for something greater. Since your birth, a sacred energy has guided every step you've taken, protecting and preparing you for the moment you would finally awaken to your true mission. That moment is drawing near. Each breath you take is connected to a purpose. You may have been called from your mother's womb, chosen for a life that goes far beyond ordinary expectations. With every beat of your heart, you draw closer to your divine destiny. It's no coincidence that you're here hearing these words now. Your spirit recognizes that this message speaks directly to your essence, but the path of the chosen is never easy. That's why you must understand that from your first breath, your life has been marked by challenges, not as punishments, but as tools to prepare you. Each difficulty, each moment you felt lost or directionless was part of the plan. The battles you faced from the beginning are like precious stones polishing your soul, making you stronger, wiser, and closer to the purpose for which you were sent to this world. You were called, and that calling has resonated since the moment you were born. Now you are beginning to remember who you truly are and the power that has always been within you. And this is only the beginning of your journey. From a very early age, you began to feel that you were different. Perhaps it was something you couldn't explain, but the feeling was there, present in every moment of your childhood. While other children seemed carefree, playing without much concern, you had an unusual sensitivity. You saw the world differently. There was a depth to your thoughts and emotions that, at times, seemed to set you apart from others. This was no coincidence. The chosen ones are touched by something spiritual from their earliest years. Do you recall those moments of solitude when it seemed like no one around you truly understood you? That happened because, even unknowingly, you were already in sync with a much greater energy. Perhaps you couldn't put it into words at the time, but your spirit already knew you had a special mission. That feeling of not fully belonging to your surroundings, of seeking answers no one else seemed interested in finding, was the first sign of the calling that resonated within you. The chosen ones, even in childhood, possess a connection to the invisible. While others followed the normal paths of life, you harbored a curiosity that went beyond the surface. Maybe you spent hours in silence, observing the world, reflecting on things that seemed unexplainable. And in those moments you were never alone. Even if you couldn't see it, a spiritual presence accompanied you, guiding and protecting you, preparing your soul for the challenges to come. Perhaps you recall situations where you felt an invisible force directing you, steering you away from danger or placing you in improbable situations. Looking back, we realize everything had a purpose. Nothing you've experienced was in vain. Every event, every person who crossed your path was part of a spiritual preparation. It was as though the universe was shaping you for something greater, something you didn't fully understand in childhood, but that began to unfold little by little. Many chosen ones report having experiences in childhood that others would consider strange or supernatural. Perhaps you dreamed of things that seemed impossible or had the feeling of knowing something before it happened. These small manifestations are common among the chosen ones because, from an early age, their soul is already attuned to the divine. It doesn't matter if, at the time, no one believed you, or if you chose to keep those experiences to yourself. What matters is that all of it was part of your spiritual awakening. In those moments when you felt different, when it seemed like the world around you didn't make sense, it was the universe calling you to recognize your true nature. Perhaps you tried to fit in, to be like everyone else, but something inside you always resisted. This is the destiny of the chosen. Not to follow the common path, but to forge a unique journey. And since childhood, these signs were already present, pointing to something special reserved for you. The chosen ones are protected by a higher force from an early age. You may not remember all the details, but if you pause and reflect, you'll realize there were moments when something extraordinary happened to protect you. It could have been an avoided accident, a comforting word from someone unexpected, or even an inexplicable sense of peace amid chaos. These are the signs of the divine presence that has accompanied you since childhood, shaping your path and preparing you for the mission ahead. Now, looking back, you may start to understand that all these signs were part of your spiritual training. Unknowingly, you were being prepared from an early age for the role you were destined to play as one of the chosen. Every emotion, every feeling of isolation, every unanswered question was part of something greater. And that greater purpose is your divine mission, which began to take shape long before you were conscious of it. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when the weight of this journey begins to manifest more strongly. For many, this happens during adolescence, a phase full of questions, changes, and above all confusion. It is when the feeling of being different, which was subtly noticeable in childhood, becomes a reality you can no longer ignore. The internal struggle begins, and the chosen feel this with greater intensity than most people. You may recall moments when you looked around and felt like you didn't belong anywhere. Other teenagers seemed so sure of their paths, while you wrestled with deep doubts and questions no one could answer. Insecurities arose, but at the same time, there was something within you that knew these doubts were a reflection of the spiritual calling you had yet to fully understand. This is the weight of being chosen, knowing deep down that your life would not be like others. While your friends were preoccupied with superficial matters, you found yourself immersed in thoughts about the meaning of life, your place in the world, and why you seemed to be on a completely different journey. The expectations the world imposed didn't align with what you felt inside. There was a constant battle between trying to adapt to societal norms and the invisible force pushing you away from them. You felt misunderstood, perhaps even a bit lost, but this internal struggle was necessary. It was the universe's way of preparing you, making you question so that one day you could find the answers. The chosen go through intense trials in adolescence because this is when the awakening begins to intensify. Doubts multiply, and emotions seem always on edge. It's not uncommon for many chosen to face feelings of loneliness, isolation, or even inadequacy. This doesn't happen by chance. These internal battles are part of the spiritual growth process. It's as if your soul is being refined, purified, so that you can gradually align with your divine purpose. And as if that weren't enough, many chosen ones feel that while battling internally, they also begin to attract external challenges. Life seems to grow harder, situations more complex, and relationships more challenging. This is common for those set apart for a greater mission. The trials that arise during adolescence are like a test, a way of preparing you for the responsibilities ahead. The universe never places anything in your life that you cannot overcome, but at the time, it can be difficult to understand this. The pressure of being different, of carrying something so grand within, can feel overwhelming. Perhaps during this phase, you felt as though doors kept closing, or that things simply didn't work out for you as they did for others. But that feeling of the world being against you was, in reality, a sign that the path the universe was preparing for you was unique. You weren't called to follow the crowd or live an ordinary life, and this is a hard truth to accept, especially when you're still trying to figure out who you really are. While your friends were perhaps enjoying themselves, going to parties, or following society's expected paths, you felt an unease. Maybe you tried to fit in, to act like others, but deep down, there was always that quiet voice saying, "This isn't for you." And the more you tried to ignore it, the louder that voice became, reminding you that your mission was different. The internal struggle of the chosen during adolescence is intense, but it has a purpose. Every moment of doubt, every internal conflict, every tear you shed, all of it was part of a greater process. The universe was shaping you, preparing you for what was to come. That feeling of not belonging, of being lost, was your soul adjusting to the true path you were meant to follow. And even though you didn't understand it at the time, that internal struggle was the beginning of your awakening. It was as if the universe was calling you more insistently each time to recognize what you had always been, a chosen one. Even if you tried to run from this truth, it kept pursuing you. And as painful as this phase was, it was essential for you to later embrace your true identity. The transition into adulthood is a crucial turning point for the chosen. After an adolescence marked by doubts and internal conflicts, there comes a moment when the puzzle pieces start to fit together. Gradually, what once seemed like a mix of confusion and uncertainty begins to make sense, and you start to realize that the experiences you've lived through had a far greater purpose than you ever imagined. This awakening in this phase of life feels like a lightning bolt illuminating the darkness. Suddenly, everything becomes clear. You begin to understand that it wasn't just life shaping you, but also an invisible force, a spiritual presence that has been with you from the start. It is in this moment that many of the chosen feel called to something higher, something that transcends mundane concerns. Perhaps you've already noticed it. That inner voice that once whispered now speaks louder, demanding your attention. Ignoring it is no longer an option. Your spirit is awakening, and with it comes a deeper understanding of who you truly are. Situations that once frustrated you, paths that seemed to lead nowhere, now start to make sense. You realize that every obstacle, every challenge overcome, was preparation for what lies ahead. Spiritual awakening in adulthood is marked by a sense of clarity. The doubts that tormented your mind in youth begin to fade, replaced by certainty. You were chosen for a unique mission, yet this awakening is not always peaceful. For many of the chosen, entering adulthood brings even greater pressure. Daily responsibilities, societal expectations, and even family ties can become sources of tension. You feel pulled in many directions at once, as though the world wants to trap you in a routine existence. But something inside you resists. You know you weren't meant for a life of conformity, creating a constant conflict between what's expected of you and what your spirit desires. For the chosen, adulthood is the stage where the spiritual mission begins to reveal itself more clearly. Perhaps you've felt an irresistible urge to seek more answers, more meaning, more purpose. This thirst for understanding is part of your calling. You're not here just to live an ordinary life. Your destiny is far greater than following the world's rules. In this awakening, you begin to connect with that truth. Many chosen ones report having more intense spiritual experiences in adulthood. You might have vivid dreams, repeated signs, or even encounters with people who seem to appear in your life at just the right moment. These experiences are no coincidence. They are reminders from the universe, calling you to embrace your true identity and the path laid out for you from the beginning. But with awakening comes responsibility. You can no longer deny who you are. Life may continue to present distractions, challenges, and even temptations to steer you off course. But your spirit has already recognized the truth. The more you try to escape this calling, the heavier it becomes. Awakening is a point of no return. From this moment on, you can no longer live with your eyes closed. Every step you take is observed, guided, and protected by a higher force. And it is this same force that will sustain you as you step into your role as one of the chosen. Adulthood also brings the need to make conscious choices. While the world around you remains distracted by the illusions of modern life, you are called to look beyond and see the truth that few can grasp. Spiritual awakening places you in a position of clarity, but also solitude. You may feel that the further you progress on your path, the more distant you become from those who once were part of your life. This does not mean you are alone. It means you are being elevated to a higher spiritual level, one that few can reach. Awakening can be intimidating, but it is also liberating. As you recognize who you truly are, the chains that tied you to the past begin to loosen. You realize that you are not here to please everyone, but to fulfill the purpose God has given you. With this clarity comes a peace that the world cannot take from you. No matter how difficult the road ahead may be, you know you are being guided. From the moment you took your first breath, your life had a destined path. Now more than ever, you are beginning to walk toward your divine mission. We have reached a pivotal moment in the lives of the chosen, a point where divine purpose starts to manifest clearly and undeniably. After years of silent preparation, inner struggles, and spiritual awakening, you begin to understand that your life is part of a much greater plan, one that transcends human comprehension. At this stage, it's no longer just about who you are, but why you are here. The weight of this responsibility is immense, but it is also liberating. You have been chosen for a special mission, and now it's time to act. Perhaps you have felt that until now, your life has been a series of endless trials and challenges, but now everything starts to make sense. Each challenge you overcame was preparation. Every disappointment, loss, and tear shed were divine tools shaping you for this exact moment. And here is the most powerful truth. You were never alone in your journey. God has always been by your side, guiding your steps, even when you couldn't see him. Your purpose is neither coincidence nor chance. It is a divine calling that has always been within you, waiting for the right moment to blossom. Now that you have awakened to this reality, the next step is to embrace the role you were destined for. Being chosen is not just a spiritual title, it is a responsibility that demands action. The world needs you. Your light, your wisdom, and your gifts are essential parts of the divine plan to transform the world around you. And here is a secret that many chosen ones take time to understand. Your purpose is not just in the future, it is unfolding now. Every action you take, no matter how small it seems, contributes to the fulfillment of this greater plan. That is why the call to action is so important. Now more than ever, you are urged to align your choices with your purpose. This may mean leaving certain things behind, habits, relationships, or even old ways of thinking. As one of the chosen, your mission no longer allows you to hold on to what does not serve you spiritually. The path you must follow is clear, but it requires courage. Courage to be different, to go against the current, and to face the criticisms and curious looks of those who don't understand what you're going through. But you weren't chosen to please everyone. You were chosen to serve a greater purpose, and that is what matters. The chosen often feel the pressure to be examples for others. This responsibility may seem overwhelming, but remember that God didn't place you in this position by accident. He gave you the strength and gifts needed to fulfill your mission. Sometimes you may doubt yourself, wondering if you are truly up to this calling. But know that doubt is just part of the journey. Every chosen one experiences moments of uncertainty, but it is in these moments that your faith must be strongest. When you feel like you have no strength left, remember that divine strength has always been within you, waiting to be activated. This is the moment when your purpose begins to influence not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. You will notice that your presence, words, and even actions have a greater impact than you imagined. People may be drawn to you, seeking advice or comfort, even without understanding why. This is a sign that your light is shining brighter. Your purpose is to be a beacon for those who are lost, guiding them towards spiritual truth. In doing so, you fulfill the plan God laid out for you from your first breath. However, being chosen does not mean the path will be easy. On the contrary, the closer you get to fulfilling your purpose, the more challenges will arise. This happens because the world around you may resist transformation. But here's something you must remember. Challenges are confirmation that you are on the right path. Each obstacle you face is an opportunity for growth, a chance to prove to yourself and the universe that you are ready to fulfill your destiny. And with every victory, no matter how small, you move closer to the full realization of your divine purpose. This is the time to make conscious decisions, to choose to live according to what you were called to do. The time for hesitation has passed. Now you must act with confidence, knowing that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Everything you need is already within you. The gifts you've received, the experiences you've lived, and the wisdom you've gained over the years are the tools you'll use to fulfill your mission. Every step you take from now on is a step toward the realization of this divine plan. Now that you understand the greatness of your journey, do not let this truth go unnoticed. You are chosen, and the world needs your light. It's time to act. Take this moment to reflect on everything you've been through and how it has shaped you to fulfill your purpose. Share in the comments how your awakening has been and where you are watching from. I love learning more about you. And if this message touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the notification bell to receive more videos like this. Your journey is just beginning, and I'm here with you every step of the way. Let's grow together. May God bless you always, and I'll see you in the next video.